should I not show Discord? I'm scared. You get guts for a second while I get bacon up. Now, I want this part in the YouTube video that we're going to upload. Hopefully we don't fuck up and not hear each other for like the first 3 minutes and have to troubleshoot. Are we ready, Mr. Bacon? I guess I should wait for his go-ahead before I call him. I wonder if there are any actual Vinland Saga bros. I honestly can't remember who is a Vinland Saga bro in chat and who isn't. He says yo, so I think that's a yes. Let me plug this fucking thing back in. It's fucking hot in this car, I'll tell you what, chat. We are a little earlier than usual, but yeah, this crossover won't be topped. Certainly it will not. Alright, did I put guts up? Is guts still up? Yes. Alright, let's call. My body is ready. Uh-oh. I'm looking as... I shouldn't read his fucking DMs out loud either. Alright, start video call. That's not what we want to do. Start voice call. How spooky. How scary. Welcome to your first voice channel. Is that Mr. Bacon? Or is it some random man disguised as him?
Come on all the way.
Alright, your mic was a bit yikesy for a second, but now it sounds crystal clear. I think we are in the clear. That means the YouTube video would have started for both of our channels. Are we both uploading this? Is this how it's working?
Nah, just keep on yours. Just keep on yours.
Bacon, you gotta get on top
I like
of these
scripting my thoughts rather than rambling.
Okay.
That's why, yeah.
CeeLo Pill says in chat, oh my god, I can't wait for the British man. Well, he's got him now.
Oh, British man is here.
Yes.
Brits and Aussies have combined.
Hold on, since the YouTube video is out, let's go to Bacon's channel here. You can't see my screen, which could prove problematic, but...
I'm watching the stream, don't worry.
It'll be a bit delayed. So you haven't even done a video on this most recent one yet, right?
No, it worked out quite well.
Okay. Well, it didn't work out well. You should have got the views for yourself. So the last one you did was this scripted video on 186, which I did watch. I was going to say, I don't remember if I watched it, but I did watch that one. So the last 4 or 5 chapters you haven't made a video on, right?
No, I haven't.
But your thoughts have been known.
Basically, I make a video on the chapter if I'm inspired enough to just smash out a script, and then I'll record it. And that's the only way it happens, basically. So.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have this opportunity to give my thoughts in a video without actually having to put on my channel.
Yes, put all the work in to do these scripts. They're overrated, frankly. So, my last video was indeed 186 and 187. So we'll start with 188. We'll run through it. 189 is probably the one we have the most to talk about. What we should do is we should go through the chapters, and then I think probably most of the discussion will be where's this all leading to, which is probably the what we usually do with these Vinland Saga videos. So so you're familiar. So if we'll just jump in then. 188 here. I don't know how much of the I did take guts off the screen, right? Yes. Oh no, now how am I supposed to keep up with chat? I'm gonna have to ignore chat for a little while. I can't talk to Bacon, read the chapter and read chat. But anyway.
Oh, this is too much multitasking.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll learn as we go.
You're elevating yourself to the next streamer level.
Yes.
Too much.
I struggled just reading chat, so here we go. I don't know how much of the chapter I want to show. Apparently in this last video I didn't give a fuck. But this had 1 page thing. The recap for the chapter is it's this bear chapter with Hild. Now, historically and foolishly, hold on, a snake cannot eat a dragon. CeeLo Pilled has subscribed with Twitch Prime. They subscribed for 2 months, currently on a 1-month streak. Mr. CeeLo Pilled. Where would I be without him? But, back to the matter at hand.
Always liking the tweets. Gotta respect that.
Yes. The chapter. Oh, historically, I've been a Hild denier. And this pissed Bacon off so much that he made a fantastic video about Hild. I have not gone back to reread Vinland Saga since I did that, but honestly, since the video, it basically changed my mind. I'm pretty hyped on Hild, more than just a mirror, some may say. And I actually really like this chapter, and I think it was an interesting way. I'm not sure where this is going. I'm not sure if this literally is it, and she likes Thorfinn now. It's probably not. There'll probably be a bigger moment where this happens. But I feel like when I imagined it, and one of the frustrating things I used to say was like, oh, we all know where this is going. It's kind of like, it's not surprising, which in retrospect is stupid fucking criticism, but I really like if this is the way of just a quiet moment where she decides not to kill the bear and sort of just sleeps alone in the woods and realizes and has this weird bear talk. I really, really like this chapter. I think this would be a very cute way of like just the fire, and then the sun comes up and she walks back to the thing, to the camp. I think this is a really cool way to do it. If this is it, there probably will be a more dramatic thing. But on the journey there, I really like this step. Mr. Bacon, your thoughts? It's been 3 months since this chapter came out.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's not necessarily like, oh, she's changed in that moment, but it's just to show that she's just changed in general. You know, it's like she's back in the woods with bears. Before, she would have killed all the bears because that's kind of her thing. You know, back in Norway.
Yes,
and now she isn't killing bears because she's got other stuff. I also think that like the only thing left is for Carly to find out. And when Carly finds out what Thorfinn did, then I think that's where you can get some drama. But apart from that, I don't really know.
There is the potential for another time skip potentially, because the fellas in one of the chapters, I don't think it's this one, they're leaving and they're probably coming back. So there is, I don't think Carly finding out, Carly's what, 4 or 5 maybe now? I don't think him finding out now would make sense. I think part of it could be that he never finds out and they don't need to tell it because it's in the past and we've moved past that. It would be obviously easy drama.
I mean, I don't think it wouldn't be necessarily like a dramatic moment, because I reckon like with how Hild and Thorfinn are, they can just sit down and explain to him. There could also be, I mean, one of my theories, which I'm not sure is going to happen anymore, but like they have like a scene where like which mirrors Floki, Balder, and Thorfinn in the Baltic Sea arc, and Carly's trying to convince Hild that she shouldn't kill Thorfinn because Thorfinn does kill someone. Or something like that. That could be kind of cool. I know Yukimura likes to have his parallels.
Yes. Hold on, I just came to a crisis. Chat can hear bacon, right? This is a thing? Hold on, let me turn my volume.
They seem to be reacting.
They very much can, right? I had a crisis moment there. I was like, I don't know what it captures, but it's capturing it, okay? I just turned my phone up. That was good. So you were saying about the Carly and a Boulder parallel. That's the kid's name, right?
Yeah, Boulder.
Yeah. I like the kid. It really depends. I think we all had conceptions of ways we thought Vinland Saga would end. I feel like we're going in a different direction generally from most of my predictions from like a year or two ago. And I really like it in interesting ways. I wasn't paying too much attention. So what was, because you're in the community a lot more than I am, was there a bad community reaction to the bear stuff with like the talking bear? Were people mad? Because I know they're mad at Ymir and other stuff, probably in the next chapter, but yeah.
Well, no one's really, the bear's always like, there was initial reaction like, oh no, it's like, is it like an actual, like it's not, bear, everybody, some people thought it was real. And I initially thought, obviously, that's like a real, that's actually like so the Micmac or the tribal people have like a bear god called Muin, and it's like a bear spirit exactly like this. So it's clearly a reference to that, and people are like, oh, is this a legit like confirmation that the bear's real? And then everybody was like, nah, no, she's clearly dreaming. You know, the bear knows information about her that they would never know, you know, and all this stuff, and she clearly goes to sleep. So there's like always that plausible deniability. And well, then the next chapter,
yes.
My dear, bro.
I would like to point out that if it was a real bear, I wouldn't care at all. The Ymir stuff is fantastical, I guess. Vinland Saga is pretty historical fiction for the most part. The Ymir stuff, I remember being initially a little weird, but I don't mind at all. The stuff in the next chapter, I don't mind at all. Obviously, I love that shit. There's actually 2 Berserk things I want to bring up, despite the fact that I made a video about how you shouldn't compare Berserk and Vinland Saga. They're the only things I've ever read, so I've got to a little bit. Now, this is a little reminiscent, slightly, and I only thought of this now. The other one I thought of while I was reading this. Of the Skull Knight first introduction. Is it his first scene? I think it is. Where Guts has left the Band of the Hawk and he's in the woods by himself in the campfire, and Skull Knight shows up. This particular panel I've got on stream here just reminded me of that a little bit. The parallels, the thematic concepts, everything else is completely different. Made me think of it. I like how the bear is drawn. I really like the art, but yeah. Continue, Megan.
Yeah. I mean, I think I mean, the chapter I'd never really thought about before, but I guess it makes sense that like Hild, like even when I was making my video, I didn't quite clock that Hild had just been killing bears as a way to like enact her vengeance upon that which killed her like hunting master. So she just
Yes.
continues killing bears because she thinks of those bears and they remind her of Thorfinn. So she kills the bears because it makes her feel like she's killing Thorfinn. And then she goes, meets Thorfinn and can't kill him. And well, now we're here. And
Yeah.
so then that's why you've got the whole kind of, oh, the bear knows that a bear once killed her hunting master. And,
Yeah.
and then she's like, I don't really care anymore. And then you're like, oh, well, then she doesn't really care about killing Thorfinn anymore. You know?
Yeah. Uh, it's tying this into the script I'm supposed to be working on right now, the second part of the top 10 videos thing. In the Game of Thrones, Brienne, I promise we're leading to something here. In Preston's video series about
I'm on
Brienne,
the road.
it's all about gender. And he talks, there's in George's writing, there's a lot of symbolism with the bear, and the bear basically being a stand-in for patriarchy. But generally in like stories, like a brown bear or a big bear is sort of this fierce. Sometimes it's actually coded female because it's like a mother bear is also a trope. But
Yeah.
yes, the bear is sort of this fierce. It's kind of the juxtaposition here of this bear is like the fierce thing, but he's also like some wise thematic mentor here, which I think is interesting. Just conceptually how we think of bears thematically and stuff like that. The second Berserk thing that actually was poignant, I'm blanking on right now. Fuck. God damn it. Oh, it was actually a trend that is in all of the chapters and like the last little arc Yukimura's been going on here. Are people still not too happy with the arc? They think it's a little boring. Is that true? Is that like what the community thinks right now, or are we?
I mean, we'll go over the controversy like next chapter, but I don't think people think it's
There's
boring.
no way people dislike that chapter. There's no way, Bacon.
No, no. That one's the most controversial one since the time skip, in my opinion. So, there's some valid reasons to be wary, but there's some also other ones which I'm like,
Okay, we can get into this.
people.
I'm excited.
And then even actually chapter 90, this is like the issues with that chapter are like, well, Vinland Saga, the issues always are people read the chapter, have to wait another whole bloody month for 20 pages, and then they're just like, oh my god, it's so slow, it's so boring, we're doing nothing's happening, and I'm just sitting here like, dude, the themes, I'm eating good, Like I just got the whole book that was released in English.
Yes, I did see
those
that.
chapters came out ages ago. And then you read them and you're like, wow,
yes, together they're all good.
He's been doing this for way longer than us.
yes.
So
the point I was getting at was that progressively as Miura got into Berserk, he did get wackier generally with both the art style and the concepts. Now, obviously, Berserk goes through cycles where the world literally changes in Volume 34 to the fact where like they say everything that's ever been imagined comes into reality when that we get that whole chapter of just double page spreads of dragons and hydras and fairies and all the weird and wacky stuff. Vinland Saga is similarly going in this direction, and I wonder if this is like just a trend of authors. Once they get to the end, they're like, fuck it, we're gonna do some wacky shit, and I'm totally there for it. I love it so much. Like we get it with the I used to point this out when we did PowerPoints, I think, but how each chapter, like one page a chapter, was on some wacky abstract art thing, because the beginning chapters of this arc, visually they were not as in the drawing, but like it was just in like green. Where are they from? Greenland or Iceland?
Iceland or Greenland,
yeah, but it's kind of
very grounded up.
Yeah, very like boring environment. So he would have that. I remember the one of the scale of war or whatever, and thinking like, oh, the imagery here, yes. And it's kind of gotten more, especially when we get into the next chapter. But here with the bear stuff. Experimenting with more abstract ways of drawing, like how the bear is drawn here, is not very traditional Vinland Saga, but I like it a lot. The nuke in the next chapter is fucking the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, in terms of drawing, and a lot of the art style in that I really like, and I think Yukimura is like expanding or experimenting more later on, and I appreciate it quite a bit. So that was my second.
I think actually It's weird. Like I think these last 2 chapters. I mean, just the last 10 chapters, Yukimura's really been drawing crazy.
Yeah.
But weirdly, actually, in the most recent chapter, I think there's a few like parts where you're like, okay, Yukimura may be a little burnt out on the drawing because there's like just a few small bits where you're just like, it's not quite as good. But saying Yukimura's art isn't quite as good as is like saying I
Still
don't know,
good.
it's still amazing. So
I've only went through all these chapters. No, I think I went through 189 twice, but I've only been through 90 once, and I didn't pick up on any of this. So point these out as we go. Do we have anything else specifically to say about this chapter? Gross. I liked it a lot. I'm just
I mean the only thing to really I guess talk about that I didn't think actually has been talked about as much as because we're now confirmed that there's some sort of supernatural element that is correct about the Native Canadians, First Nations, or Elnu people. Because this may actually have been the actual bear goddess, and I'm not sure if it will come up again. I don't think Yukimura will really, play into it too much, but it's more just references, I think, personally. But some people are really worried that Hild will be, I don't know, in a situation and the bear goddess will come out and save her and, do her karate moves and beat the bad guys, something like that.
Honestly, again, I'm a wacky gentleman, but I would be completely fine with that. If the bear was real, I don't think it is. I think it is like a hallucination or just a visual representation to have kind of this internal monologue. I like it a lot either way. But yeah, so me, if the bear bloke shows up and karate kicks the bad guys, whoever they may be, the dude with the sword, I wouldn't mind at all. I think Yukimura is going to stick to his theme. Using fantastical elements to portray the theme, I think is completely fine. Just 2 little art things. I'm sure you want to respond to something there. The girls running away is really cute. And I like the fish art. I don't know why. Fucked up fish. I like it. Also, talking about the bear thing, like, oh, never mind. Nobody thought it was the same bear. I was just going to say this bear isn't human, but obviously the other bear talks about the bear being in hibernation and stuff. Also, I like how it's like there's like a duality of like not really a duality. There's like some conflict here of like it's the human's fault why the bear isn't hibernating right now, and they're only in danger because the bear isn't hibernating right now because they're on the land and it's part of its territory and it didn't get enough food to hibernate for the winter. So it's kind of the people's fault, and for the bear not to get killed in the end it ties into the theme and stuff like that. Of the North's people are actually respecting the environment, unlike the Native Americans are scared of, but that plays into a bunch of things. Bacon.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. I think, like, there's like an undercurrent that, like, this is what the North
God, do I love that word.
Is exactly what they're doing to the native people. And so, and you see here that, like, they are actually intruding, and they're being respectful now. Cause, well, at least Hild is, but we'll have to see.
The chapter is called "Hild and the God of the Forest," so it's definitely a reference to this god thing. I didn't read that closely enough. I had no idea about the god deity, the bear deity, or whatever. But
I went on a bit of a Wikipedia spree. I sometimes like to do that, particularly after the last chapter where it mentions all these Norse things. I'm just like, well, gotta go Wikipedia that. But
I think I'm insane.
I think I've forgotten something else.
Hold on, I think I've forgotten like what 190 is about entirely. Oh, it's the Canute stuff. Never mind. All right, go ahead.
Yes, Canute. I was gonna say something, and now I've kind of
because I cut you off.
But no, that was like before. Now we good.
Okay. Wait, there is no dick in this chapter, right? We can scroll down here. He's got a dick cover. This bloke on the title page. So are we going into this one, or do you have anything last to say on the bear chapter?
Well, if I remember it, I'll say it, but I don't have anything to say. No.
Interrupt at any time. Now, can you pronounce the title of this? It's Our Thoughts.
Hold up. I'm watching your stream on minimal quality, so I can not screw up this Discord call.
Yes.
Let's move over. Misque Pique's ritual.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job.
Yeah, just I always go back to that video and have to be like, how did I pronounce it?
Yeah. I'm not gonna try. So initially there's some talk here with... this is probably the girl from the other chapter, right, that ran up and she was having visions and she's now his pupil. I like there's like a thing in the chapter about how this shaman bloke, he was like, oh no, maybe the ritual like died with my generation or something. I thought that just a little bit of intergenerational like doubt is always cute. The last generation was always better than ours. The insecurity there. If only somebody made a Sopranos video about that. But
someone made a thumbnail for that too.
Oh yes, multiple thumbnails.
Yeah.
There was a thought process through me. I was always speculative about how Yukimura would handle the natives. Because there's like a duality. I need to stop saying duality because that's not what I mean. There's two ways you could do it, which is not a duality. Anyway, there's like the way of probably being scared to like critique Native Americans because obviously they're historically the victims, almost indisputably. I'm sure there's some weirdos out there that don't think they're the victims or something. But there's also some sci-fi shit here where like, hold on, let me rephrase this a little bit. The fear might be that out of a fear of not wanting to portray the Native Americans as bad, some of their sillier tendencies could be justified by the narrative. And I thought if they were having like these fake visions, basically, of like destruction and that caused them to hate the Norths, would they be the final villains? Is that going to look bad for Yukimura if he makes the native people the final villains? Almost definitely yes. And we want to avoid that, but we also don't want to like prop them up to be like these inhuman saviors or like we want some nuance
like
here is what I was trying to say.
Stereotype.
Yes. He avoided all of this by just making the visions real, which I think is kind of genius. So now, like, it's not them, because it could have been like, because basically it was either they're these intelligent, they do nothing wrong, or they're like these idiots who are into superstition, it's going to lead to war. We've kind of avoided this by making the superstition real. And I kind of think it's genius. God, the eye looks good here, but I'm just looking at the art. The art style here is really good. But so throughout this chapter, when it started becoming real, firstly I was like, this is going to be some sick fucking imagery. This is fucking awesome. But I see some people might have like, oh no, what are we doing here? I don't think I'm getting this point across very well, but...
you want me to kind of give you like a rundown of the 3 issues people...
Yes.
There's 3 different like reasons why people wouldn't like this portrayal.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that okay? Yeah, okay. So the first one is the fact that it's supernatural and it's like a magic that we've never seen before. That gets some people's panties in a twist, you know. I think it's probably the least least strong position, let's say.
It depends if you're really into consistency, which a lot of people are, and a lot of YouTube videos like make you believe you should care about beyond anything. It's really personal choice, as all things are. Choking on my words, as all things are, but yeah.
I mean, we have magical things in Vinland Saga, like superpowers, you know, Thorkel, you have Ear, who can just hear people. We just have to accept it before, and then people think, I mean, and people have gotten used to it. They're like, okay, so people have physical, superhuman abilities.
That's always easy to get away with, I think. Like Thorkel throwing Thorfinn all the way into the air and things like that.
Yeah, and so we bought into that, and I think, I understand, because there's like 190 chapters in, we're introducing this other type of just prophecy magic. Which is, but I wouldn't say it's like that much further on in terms of the magic scale. He's not going to just start conjuring fireballs or it's cooling down lightning and that stuff. You know,
it's not really magic. I guess it's like consciousness time travel, which is cute as fuck. But yeah,
future sight. And I mean, this is a legit like.
I guess it is a prophecy because unless we divert from history with Vinland, maybe that's where we're going. Maybe we divert from history, none of that stuff happens, and Vinland Saga is a happy place, better than our world. I don't think that's where we're going.
You're clinging.
Yeah, but Yeah, I interrupted you.
Yeah,
What were you
and
saying?
yeah, well, I mean, yeah. So I mean, I remember I had like a super long conversation on Discord with a guy. I can't even remember half my points, but
Yeah.
I found that to be the least convincing. I think one that I think the second one is that it confirms their spiritual belief system. It confirms some sort of metaphysical reality,
Yeah.
and as I said, it kind of recontextualizes the Hill chapter because now we're like, well, that
I
god
see
is
what
probably
happened,
legit, right?
Bacon. You were saying in the Healed chapter, like, it's not real, you're all dumb as fuck. And then the next chapter was like, oh, that happened with me a
Maybe.
few times with Attack on Titan a little bit, where I'd be like, no, this is not happening, you're fucking stupid. And then
Well,
that was
most
definitely Aaron's kid, right, guys? But
yeah,
yeah.
well, I think it's also like in the chapter, like at least the Hill chapter, it's exactly like how Yukimura has done every other like when
Yeah.
the dad ghosts come and visit them. There's always a sense of like, yeah, they're passed out.
Like the
It's totally
Askeladd
able to
thing
be
in the
the
farmland
figure of the
arc.
yeah, it's like it's totally able to be just a concoction of their mind. You're given this kind of sense of like, oh, you can have if you need that consistency, you can have. There's a reason for you to be able to
Yeah.
not have to say this is a legit ghost,
It's
right?
easy to rationalize.
But now, yeah, now this time it's been like, yeah, well, the new spiritual system actually can do stuff that's legit. You can't really argue about it unless right, unless as you say, the future is different, and that is just nodding to our reality when Vinland Saga is going to do its own thing. But I feel like that's a bit. I don't really think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And so some people are like, Vinland Saga has always treated things with skepticism, you know, at least when it comes to like Valhalla, you know,
Yes,
you see the
yes.
dude dying.
That is in the next chapter too.
Yeah, and then you even have like with regards to Christianity, it's like it's respectful, but it's
Yeah.
also like doesn't confirm or deny whether it's legit. Apart from the Norse warrior things, where it actually just kind of confirms that Valhalla doesn't exist. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think people are a bit like, I think that's a bit more of like a okay, I understand if that kind of weirds you out because since
It's
Vinland
obvious
Saga
that it's
is a
going to weird
reflection
some
of our
people out.
own. Yeah, it's Vinland Saga is a reflection of our own reality. It's meant to be a historical, so it's set in our world.
Yeah.
And so if Yukimura is kind of making this statement, it's not like a mystical world like Berserk. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, we none of us know whether or not which religion, if there is a correct religion, you know. So he's kind of almost, it kind of takes us out of the realism in a way, and so I think that's what people get bugged by, and yeah.
The idea here
Add
is
that
that
up,
it's like
yeah.
a drug, right? It's not like, again, it's like kind of obfuscating from magic to be like, he just took a drug and it dissociated him from our reality, and because time happens all at once and time is just a construct, he can see things. I don't know. I can separate it from magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was
Yeah,
always
I think
going to love
yeah,
it, but yeah.
the magic, yeah, but it's just it says that this religion is somewhat true. It maybe not all of it, but like there's some actual truth to it, and so I think that rubs some people the wrong way. It didn't really rub me the wrong way, but
You're a religious man, Bacon, but
yeah.
but I don't necessarily think it has anything necessarily to do with religion. Now, this could be a thing now where I'm fucking myself, where in the next chapter it's revealed that, yeah, it is their religion or something. But I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it is just this drug that he talks about. I should probably scroll through.
Well, it is a spiritual practice of this people. I guess religion's a bit, a bit. At least when we're thinking religion, we think of like a Western religion, but
Yeah.
this is part of their spiritual culture, shall we say? So, yeah.
I don't think this necessarily means everything about their religion is like true or something. I feel like it could be a thing when Yukimura is like saying like some of the religion stuff is silly, but some of it could be true. I feel like I had a bigger point to get to down that regard, but I kind of forgot it.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I think what people need to recognize is that, guys, we don't actually know. You can't analyze, the whole story thematically until it's over. This chapter
that can lead to some
like,
very bad.
We never have any future sight again. This is just setting up for the plot. Like there is this could be so like irrelevant, and if you start being like, oh well, the plot says this, you may be missing the thematic implications.
Yeah,
which is,
these disgusting plot bros.
Vinland Saga's really strong at. So yeah.
I honestly don't see it coming up ever again. I feel like this is just a setup for the plot, but everything's a plot
Or
device.
one-off thing, yeah.
So it doesn't bother me in that sense at all. But I'm almost entirely in the minority on that.
Yeah.
Was that the second reason? Do we have a third reason to get to?
Yeah, so there's a third reason which is more to do with like the kind of the meta and the historic reasons around the
No,
piece
this
and
is
the fact
brilliant.
that
This is the best part. Continue.
yes. Well, it's so there was a post on Reddit done by the main translator for this, Katita, who I interviewed for my video.
Yes. Everybody should
And
watch the
so
video, even though I haven't. But yeah,
she's an actual she's an actual doctor, PhD, very academically
minded individual.
with it and very fair. So she's not one to come out just out the gates and be like, oh man, this plot doesn't make sense, bro. Hey man, the magic man, not like that.
Not being
So
a
she made
prick about
post on
it.
Reddit,
Coming from a place of love.
yeah, exactly. And so she just self-admittedly she says it's a ramble in a post, but she kind of brings up the fact that and this could all be part of the plot, we're not sure yet, but it's clumping all Europeans and Norse white people together and then linking it to the atomic bomb, which for Japan is a massive deal.
Yeah.
And so then for like, and let me just preface this, as a Brit, we're not really taught that much about, the atrocities of the British Empire in school. And so let me just preface this. And so it's similar in Japan, they're not really taught about
Yes, this is definitely true.
the bad stuff they did in World War II. They kind of see themselves as the
so people are like,
this is supposedly how it's that they see themselves as the forever victim, and so the atomic bomb kind of brings back this imagery, and so it can kind of push in some like harmful stereotypes. Honestly, I just say I'll probably on this video I'll go link it in the description so you guys can all read it, and it makes a lot more sense. And she's just saying that look, Yukimura can kind of go a few ways with this. I imagine Yukimura, he could be coming out and be like saying that, guys, we need to have a closer look at our own history. He's not just buying into the whole nuclear bomb, we're the victims thing. Yukimura seems like a pretty progressive and well-educated guy. So
Cordelia
like
exists.
he could go somewhere, but she's just saying, I'm giving it the side eye. That's what she says. She's just having a look at it, keep an eye on it, see if anything problematic comes from it. So
the interest, I didn't even think about this from a Japanese perspective about how the nuclear bomb is like the worst thing here. Now, confusing the Norths with the other white people, I thought was part of actually the point I kind of failed to make earlier, where it was like some of the stuff here is obviously misinterpreted. Of him thinking the Americans in the American Civil War are Northmen, and further Northmen, there must be Northmen everywhere because the only white people they've ever encountered are Northmen, with leaf sold, whatever the fuck, and continuing on. I didn't even realize that. I just realized now, and you referenced it earlier, how the bear tells Heil that her previous leader was killed by a bear. I didn't even remember that her hunting master was killed by a bear. I was thinking they were referencing like Leaf's party or something, and that line did confuse me. But it's just been all cleared up in my mind.
See.
So that just came to me. Now I've gone on a tangent. The nuke thing. I didn't think it was especially sad. Maybe it's just because I really like the artwork here, or my observation of nukes is very different, as I kind of think they like basically kind of ensured world peace on a large scale. That's obviously proxy wars happen because of them and all this stuff. They're not like all good, but the general sense is obviously, especially from a Japanese perspective, would be nukes bad. And again, art is a lot about interpretation. But hold on, let me just finish this point. Because I'll forget it. I don't want to skip ahead because I want to go through line by line a little bit. But if we go to the nuke thing here, there's like the scientists in the distance clapping. Again, I kind of interpreted all of this as kind of oddly a happy moment that we were that he was misinterpreting. I think I'm insane for thinking that, but that was definitely a different.
I think it's like tragic. It's like, oh, these people are cheering for something so destructive and awful.
Yeah, it's definitely tragic for
that's why
for the character here. But yeah, I don't know, the vibe.
It's just harrowing. It's just like you see these guys cheering in the background for it or in the foreground, and it's just like, it's like, it just brings a sense of dread. At least for me, when I was reading the chapter, I was like, oh no, like humans just love violence. I mean.
I think
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
was.
say what you're gonna say.
I forgot what I was going to say, but I have something new to say. The
Okay.
the misinterpretation thing I actually want to get into a lot because it was the point I was trying to make earlier. Where he's looking at certain things here and obviously thinks these are very bad things. Like he tells them not to buy the gun here, but it's like they probably should buy the guns. It's probably a good thing that they have guns to fight back against. But I'm not sure if they're fighting white people here or it's like it's a native on native war and that's why he's saying no. I'm not
I'll
certain.
be honest, I don't know the history well enough to
Yeah,
really
I'm sure there had
interpret
to be native on native conflict, but
that. Mm. Oh, I love the
all the art here
But the
is
thing
so
is,
fucking good.
the gun is drawn in exactly the same way that Ivor's sword is drawn in. So like, it's the parallels are there. With Yukimura.
I see. I didn't think of that. Firstly, part of this chapter, the experience of the chapter, I was reading this whole chapter with a smile on my face. Obviously, it is supposed to be sort of a tragic chapter. I was just like, holy shit. When I got to this page initially, and I was like, and I saw the American Civil War, I was like, oh my god. Yukimura is drawing the American Civil War in Vinland Saga art style. Holy fuck, look at this shit. And because, actually, this is a point I forgot earlier that I was trying to bring up. I always said this vaguely in Vinland Saga videos, mostly the chapter reviews that I would make. I'd be like, well, cheering for Thorfinn's kind of weird when we know where this ends up with, mass slaughter of the native people and then all the bad things that will happen on the American continent in, the future. And I liked that was kind of being addressed, that, we're bringing this up literally. Because in my head, I was like, there's no way they can address that, then there's no way they can know the future. To use this as a plot device to, explore that, I think, it, blew my mind. It was like, holy shit, he's actually fucking doing it. And then it just kept
really
going,
smart.
and it was like,
Smart.
oh, what a man.
Yeah. I think the key thing is that, I think, and this is the misinterpretation thing, is that the Norse really have nothing to do. Historically speaking, they have nothing to do with Columbus, right?
Yeah,
it's 400 years difference. Barely any, but we don't we can barely know that the Norse actually were in Newfoundland, in Canada at the time. They have to actually be like, I think this is where they were. It's not overwhelming writings about how we were here or whatever, because it failed. 3 years in, so they probably didn't talk about it too much. And so I think it's one of those things where there's so much about communicating in these recent chapters with Bug Eyes and the girl and being able to communicate, and the fact that is just, and actually when I was rereading the book, they talk about how they're having a hard time in Constantinople, in Byzantium, communicating with people, and language is hard to overcome, and this guy, and so it's kind of so much conflict is caused by misinterpretation, and this is exactly what this guy is going to do. The shaman, he's going to be seeing it, and he's going to be thinking, oh man, this is what the Norse are. They're going to do this. And then he's going to chase them off the island. And then guess what? He just ensures that history happens.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That would be a cute twist. I guess I always
kind of changing fate kind of thing.
Yeah. I like the prophecy seals the fate, which is a twist on prophecy authors like to do a lot.
But then next chapter, Yukimura claps back and addresses it exactly, and we'll get onto that when we get onto Canute chapter. But
wait, I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
We'll get there.
Okay. Fuck, I had something to say before you hit me with that, and now my mind is wandering to the second chapter. I like that it nearly kills him here. I really like it if we can, before we get into the really cool stuff, just how the shadow work is done here is fucking insane. Yukimura is incredible at art. Again,
he's pretty good at this art thing, huh?
Yeah. Again, I don't want to bring the Berserk thing up again, but when you are a Berserk fan, and even with my opinion of Mura just continued to get better, generally is what I think. I think there is Fantasia, beginning Fantasia
Digital man
ones.
Ruined him, man.
Yeah.
Digital, bro.
We'll talk. I hate those people. But anyway,
yeah.
I was gonna say the Skull Knight chapter was one of the best drawn ones he did, which is true, but whatever. I think Yukimura is also getting better. He's always had these even Isayama could do this time to time, where it would just be this one thing is so incredibly drawn. I think Isayama had a lot of cool ideas that he put on page really well. Obviously, his drawing probably wasn't to Yukimura's level, even if I think it was pretty good by the
Well,
end.
he's doing double the pages a month than Yukimura, right? So, like, you gotta cut the.
But yeah, because I pointed this out when I went back and reread like the first like 7 chapters of Attack on Titan, intending to do a full reread, and you get to chapter 7, and there's that double page spread of Eren coming out of the Titan, and it's like beautiful, and it's like, oh, like he can probably do this, he just doesn't have the time.
Yeah.
I like that. I just think Yukimura has this. That was kind of a tangent. Going back to the Berserk example, I think Yukimura just has continued to get better. There have always been these one-off things in the past where it's like incredibly beautiful. It's always been pretty great. It's always been a very consistent quality. There are like ones that stand out in my mind. Like I remember the when Thorfinn's talking to the one dude that leads some Vikings that Garm ends up killing. He has a really cool character design, but he gets killed off. Do you know who I'm talking about? You probably know him by name.
Varg, the guy with like, the big hammer.
Great character design. But there's that one page he tells Thorfinn that Floki was responsible, and there's that one full page of Thorfinn like covering his eyes with his hand, kind of, and it's like to the side, and there's like flames. That sticks out in my mind as like maybe my favorite Vinland Saga page.
Yukimura is so good at drawing hands. Like
this is fucking true. The detail, the calluses.
Think about it.
It's so good.
Oh yeah, like. And also they're fat fingers, and as someone who also has fat fingers, I'm finally thankful that fat fingers are getting represented in manga that I enjoy.
I got very skinny fingers, but anyway, we're overrepresented, I think. So this is all to talk about the shadowing here with the light and the whites. It's fucking sick, and the smoke incorporating into that. There was something I saw recently where
sunlight.
Where something did this recently. It might have been Chainsaw Man or something, but it did like light very good in manga, and I'm trying to wreck my brain, and this kind of reminds me of it, but I can't remember what it reminds me of. But the light here is sick. We got to kind of, this page I think is fucking sick too. The booms coming in, and you're like, what is this? Is this like the sparks in his mind? No, these fucking cannons, bro. But like the build up to that, how it appears on the page, I think is really sick and captivating.
His ghost form's just really cool. I love how his face is drawn as well. I don't know. I love the First Nations people's just character designs,
this
and
is
like
true.
how legit they look. It's just it's so good.
Oh, something that's carried over and consistent here in Yukimura's portrayal of the Civil War here is like the violence, like the hand being blown off here. I don't know much about like 18th. The century is always before. So whatever century the Civil War happened in, like I kind of have I kind of have a concept in my mind of how like combat was in like World War I and stuff, and like how people get massacred there, and then like in older like medieval settings. I guess I've never seen like a Civil War movie or anything, so seeing like soldiers here getting blown up by cannons and bleeding out, like I'd never seen this before, so this was kind of cool to me to have like this sort of Vinland Saga violence looking stuff with limbs falling off, like the beginning of the war in the farmland arc where just limbs are everywhere as the Jomsviking chop through these poor fucking farmers. I really liked how that was like it's continued over. The coats look really cool. That's a big thing, right? The Americans are in blue coats and the British are the red coats. I know that because of Black Sails. These fucking red coats, these Brits, kill them all.
If
in a video game,
Civil
in Black
War,
Sails.
then they're fighting each other. Not
you're absolutely correct. This is not the War of Independence
or whatever.
That's why neither one of them are red. I don't know. The Confederacy, were they red? Their flag is red, right? There's no way they could have been. They just beat the British. They can't have their color. But it seems like they're just black and white here. I assume the Northerners are winning here, so maybe they're in the darker color here. I don't know anything about that. The war. They ended slavery. Abe Lincoln was around. That's about the extent of my Civil War knowledge.
I think it's just to show that they're fighting.
Yes. This is the point. I was just. Let me get my Black Sails reference in. All right. Anything to say here? All this art, just like seeing this for the first time, I was like smirking. I was like, it got a verbal reaction of me. Like, I made a guttural noise. I was like, this is fucking sick. This is exactly what I want. Give me this abstract shit.
And his reaction to bullets. I mean, it's so,
the invisible arrows,
magic arrows, like invisible arrows, like
so good.
And it just builds on the misinterpretation theme. Like he actually doesn't know what's happening here. Like like he can't know all the details because it's literally 800 years in the future. So
All right, I want to read chat after I get to this point, all right? We should pay chat some attention, and then we'll continue. This actually some kind of relates to something I've been thinking about a lot recently because of the brand new Pokemon game that just came out. Now, this Pokemon game, I promise we are going somewhere with this, Bacon. Do you believe me?
All right. I believe you.
It ties into the new Spider-Man movie, all right? We're tying things in.
Ooh, let's go.
I've been thinking a lot about reintroducing like familiar elements. So this Pokemon game is set in the Sinnoh region, but it has a different name because it's in ancient times. At the beginning of the game, spoiler alert, you time travel back in time. You have like a phone. You look like a modern kid, and you end up in what do you call it? Japan. What do they call it? Old Japan.
Yeah. It's Hokkaido.
No. They have like it's not medieval Japan, but like they have a name for the period.
in the
ancient Japan?
Edo period, or whatever.
Yeah, that's not exactly what I'm looking for, but fuck it. Doesn't matter. Old school Japan. Though they have cameras. Pokemon's always weird with technology. But in the game, all the characters that you know from the Diamond and Pearl Sinnoh games, like their character designs, like they carry over, but they're a little bit different, and like everything is a little bit kind of similar, but a little bit different, and like the twist is what's interesting. So like Cynthia is a dude and Cyrus is a girl, and like you're aligned with Cyrus initially, and you're like, this hasn't happened yet, but I assume that character's going to turn bad in the future. But you only have this predilection because you're familiar with the main series games. And like you get to certain areas in the game, because the maps are kind of similar but kind of different because thousands of years differentiate. The map can change a little bit. But like you'll hear certain musical notes where you're like, oh, this person has a remix theme of this thing here, and then it like clues you in to give you hints. I saw that, yeah. I tweeted out that when I turned the corner and I realized I was at Lake Verity and the initial notes from that song played, I fucking incredible moment in this video game. But what I'm talking about here is like familiar elements like this. I don't have a good way to describe this, but in this new Spider-Man movie, promise we're going somewhere with this. Spoiler alert for the new Spider-Man movie. We okay with this, Bacon?
I watched it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aunt May dies and is basically Uncle Ben and gives the responsibility speech. And this is interesting because there's 3 live-action Spider-Mans plus a million other Spider-Mans. And they've all got to try and do things a little bit differently than the last one. And so it's this similar type of thing of like a similar element, but it's changed slightly. Instead of Uncle Ben, it's Aunt May that gives a speech. Like in The Amazing Spider-Man, they so didn't want to say with great power comes great responsibility. So Uncle Ben in that goes on a monologue that's like, the theme of it is exactly the same. I think he says something about, if you can help somebody, you have a moral obligation to do so. And it basically means with great power comes great responsibility. If you have the power to do it, do it. But he doesn't say it because they don't want to, because it's like 5 years after the last one. And they wanted to differentiate themselves, so it's like you have to have the responsibility thing. Yes, you have to have the responsibility thing throughout, right? So this of seeing like a familiar element of like our time period, but in Vinland Saga, in this, it something about this. I feel like people dislike what I'm describing here of like, oh, everything's the same. Like, of course, in ancient Japan, there's a character that has Mars's haircut. That's a Pokemon character, not the planet. Oh, the redhead girl with the cool hair. Oh, of course they're all the same because Pokemon is too lazy to do new character designs or something. I feel like the generic internet opinion would be against this type of trope, but I really think I like it a lot. And the fact that there's always like a slight twist and you see the familiar element and you're like, It's like this meta thing of like, what's the twist here? So seeing Vinland Saga's twist...
It's a little bit of fan service.
Yes,
right? So
it absolutely
like rewarding you as a long-time fan, being like, hey guys, like this is slightly different, and you're like, oh, I get the reference, and you're like, it just builds on it. It's quite cool.
It's more than just a reference though, but I don't think you're like undercutting the point, but it is more than a reference of like, this is going to be a plot element, and like the hints are there if you were knowledgeable enough to pick up on the plot elements. If not, you'll just think, oh, this is my friend character, oh no, they turned on me because I should have known because it's Cyrus but girl form. I actually don't know if that character is going to turn out to be bad. I'm only 20 hours into this game. What a video game. But in Vinland Saga, seeing these familiar elements of just like, oh, it's the Civil War. What's Yukimura going to use this for? Or like, how is this element going to be incorporated? I feel like this is part of the reason why I was like, this is fucking sick. I love this so much. Of like, these are familiar elements. Like, I feel like he chose iconic moments here that everyone's aware of. We got a Brit. and a fucking Australian who didn't learn much about American history. Though I think we did learn a little bit about
because America
slavery.
is just so prominent in pop
Yes.
culture. He's, like, enough movies, like later on, he shows war, and guess what he shows? Slavery. Both things happened in America, like, very famously. So
yeah, so it's references enough for us all to capture. Oh no, I pulled up my screen. Never mind. But yeah, that I did have a point there, right? Bacon? It kind of came back with the familiar elements thing, right? I kind of made a point. I'm not lost in the woods entirely.
No, I think that it is exciting to be like, Yukimura, we know, has an angle. He has a message to get
It's
across.
so important that we know that.
How is he going to use this?
I feel like maybe I would have said this like 2 years ago, and well, never mind. Then I remember said this. I don't even think he read Vinland Saga, but just hearing about it, he would say this about like how maybe Vinland Saga is too on the nose or something. This is part of like why that can work well. Of like we understand thematically like what is happening here and how to incorporate that, and that's a lens in which we can learn, we can use to like give another layer to everything that happens. It runs through this sort of filter, and it's apt for subversion if he wants to have everybody get fucking killed in the end, or it's apt for like success if we want the build up of seeing Thorfinn's journey of success here. Good at this manga thing.
Yeah, and I think just thinking about like when this is all done, because it seems like Vinland Saga will have an end, or touch wood,
Yeah. We're closing in.
We're closing in. It'll be so fascinating just to look back on this chapter and like what, like, you can get like a gist, but there's so many ways that it could be used by Yukimura. That's what makes it exciting. So even if like this is like the plot equivalent, when someone has like a big plot twist, and you're like, oh my word, like anything could happen. You're like, when it comes to this thematically, that's also what makes it interesting. So when people are like, oh, there's not much going on with the plot now, I'm not engaged. It's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Well, this is the thematic version of not quite knowing where Yukimura is gonna go, because he has openly said that the manga is going to change in the final arc. He's got a twist on it somehow, and this is where this is what he's been wanting to write the whole entire time.
Yeah.
This is what he said in interviews, and so you're like, okay, there's the hype part about this arc is not the fact that, well, it is like it's gonna be the conclusion of the journey and whatever, but it's also to see the conclusion of Yukimura's vision, which to me is exciting as a reader,
Fuck, I had something, but then I forgot it once again. I do want to read chat if I can't remember it in a second, just so we can pay chat some attention. Fuck, what did you, what was the gist of what you went over right before the end there? We ended with Yukimura's message. I shouted like thematic twist and then clapped.
Yeah,
there was something between those things.
Compared to a thematic twist.
Yeah, it was after that though, but before your ending part.
Oh no, man.
Yeah. All right.
Back in the brain.
Let me check in on chat a little bit. We got Bacon's last message is British man, well for the occasion. Oh my god, the accents, me being from the US is what I stay up for. Base Texas is saying he likes our accents. Fuck, it had something to do with like a country or something. Fuck, it's gone. It's never coming back. Unless you got it, Bacon.
American history?
I think it had something to do with that, but fuck it.
Hopefully it comes back.
People are saying hello to YouTube. Slow Pilled single-handedly carrying chat. Skull Knight stuff, kind of the same thing, kind of. Fuck, let me hug that bear. There we go. Learn a lot about the American Civil War in school. Base Texas is saying, go ahead, Bacon.
No. I'm just
saying, yeah.
I'm reading chat too.
Android is saying, very wholesome. Carl found a friend. How cute. Personally, the Baltic Sea War arc was where the art was drawn best. It's still great today, though. A Jiran? I think that's a new name in chat, but there we go. We've still got 9 viewers. Chat is being kind of dead, but I think they're just listening to us. But the viewership has stayed consistent throughout, so I think we're doing all right over here. No, don't read chat. Keep the bromance going. Well, that was the last message in chat. We can keep going, Mr. Android. I guess we can continue scrolling. We talked about the Civil War stuff. We've got this drawing here is really sick. This is like a start. This reminds me, we did this in like art in like grade 3, where you would do this thing where you would like paint like black over like a sheet of paper, and then you would take like a toothpick and you would like carve out the black painting. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? And like it would make
It's
something.
like the inverse, like you
Yeah,
instead of going from white to paper onto like with a black pencil, you go like
yeah,
reverse.
and then you carve it out. It kind of reminds me. They kind of look like this kind of art style. That's what it reminds me of. But I really like it. I like the. It's not really thick outlines, but they're kind of like sharp outlines. Again, we got fat fingers. The face, you were talking about the facial expressions. They are really good throughout. Things like exploding underneath him, and like he talks about the cannon. I think that's what he talks about, exploding underneath him. Then him being like soaring over the sky, seeing like all the farmland is all cool. We still got the similar like sharp black outlines here for the art here.
And he's being blasted throughout time.
Yes,
you know, like
this reminds me of stuff.
This panel.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, I tweeted out this, but this reminds me of the panel where Thorfinn's flying in the air after getting kicked by Thorkel in the prologue.
Yes,
when they're fighting. This is instantly what I thought of.
He's a little high here.
So
we can see
it's
clouds,
confirmed
but,
that Thorkel's foot has as much power as Michelle.
Yeah. It's such a cool way to transition through the things. It reminds me of something. There's got to be like people are having visions and they look from a bird's eye view or something in something else. I don't want to get caught up on trying to think about what it was. The depiction of the slaves here was really interesting, I think. Most of the slave movies I've seen, I'm trying to think if I've seen anything but Django Unchained. I must have at some point.
Like 12 Years a Slave?
No, I never saw that one. But I don't know. There's something about them wearing belts and t-shirts and not being like naked or whatever, which I don't think they were in Django or something. I don't know. There's something that was like
in a way.
Hold on, what do you say?
It kind of reminds me of Holes. You know,
movie? I have not. We were supposed to read that book in like grade 6. We're going to our primary school days for this, but I didn't read it.
I read it in school too.
I did.
Why did we read it in school?
Yeah. The school has certain books that we all go over, I think, cross national bounds, though I didn't read it.
Yeah.
Don't tell the teacher.
Okay, I won't.
I have no idea what Holes is about. I know that the cover is like iconic of like them all looking down the hole. But yeah, there's something I want to say odd in like a bad way, but this panel of this depiction of slavery had me feeling some type of way. It's not like torture porn, which I know a lot of slave movies get accused of being. There's a Freddie Gibbs line in a song. Now, Freddie Gibbs is a gangster rapper, so don't take his art criticism too seriously, but he has like a line about how he hates slave movies in a song where he says like slave movies every year the masters are going to remind us or something, basically talking about how he thinks like slave movies are racist and like trying like a white people conspiracy to remind black people of that they're secretly slaves or something. It's a line, but that kind of stuck with me of like is kind of gratuitous in some senses, the depiction of slavery sometimes. And here it has this melancholy of being like a horrible thing, but it doesn't blend into torture porn. That was kind of what I was thinking.
Particularly compared to all the violence previously in war.
Yes,
it's like
true.
Slavery, like just the framing of it. Yeah, now you say it's like, I mean, it's literally just one, it's just one page that shows it. And like, I think it could just be the fact that he spent all his time on the war and he just ran out of time on the slavery. But yeah, he didn't show like.
Let me tell you, these fucking corns, they be looking good. I don't think he ran out of time here. Look at this fucking corn.
It's got the fuzzy hair on the end as well.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The fucking, I don't know. I love foreground details like this in art. You see this a lot in painting, and it's usually plants in like the foreground, and then the subject in like the middle ground. I think there's a different name for middle ground than middle ground, and then background. I did art in like grade 10 or something. Got a C, all right, pretty good. But they taught us that. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. This page looks fucking sick. I don't know, sick. Like, yeah, brother, it looks sick, but like, it looks really good. I like the way it looks.
There's something about him flying over, like, because this is the guy that saw them burning all the trees down, like previously as well. So like seeing that, oh wait, all the land has been burnt down and converted into crops. Like that's to him, in particular, could be quite scary. So
there's also a theme here of like excess, right? Why do people need all this farmland? He doesn't understand large civilization. He touches down here and he sees all the animal pellets and the furs all wrapped up and like what is like industry? Why is this happening? There's Tamahiro, if we can reflect on our top 10 analysis video meme again.
Yeah.
And this is reflected in a lot of craft store videos. They both talk about how in Japanese culture, living in harmony, this is in every Pokemon game, living in harmony with nature is what's like most important. And industry kind of spits in the face of that, of like, so interpreting this through kind of a Japanese lens, the very flawed Japanese lens that I think I'm creating here.
It was
it would
like
be
Miyazaki
like
films.
Yeah, they're all very similar in that regard. Well, I've only really seen the one Miyazaki film, Castle in the Sky. I saw Grave of the Fireflies too, but that's not really a theme in that. It's more war bad
Spirited
stuff.
Away is very similar.
Yeah. I was gonna watch them all, and then Grave and the Fireflies fucked me up real bad, as it does everybody.
I'm going to watch it, but yeah.
It's I've never felt so helpless watching a movie.
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
It's like, oh, just stop killing yourself. Why? But yeah,
No.
Grave of the Fireflies is a whole fucking thing, and it's not just himself; it's his little sister too. Just what are you doing? Suck up your pride. Go back to your aunt's house. But yeah, Grave of the Fireflies. But excess is a theme here. Then this scene didn't resonate with me enough, but I think it's just because I'm confused and I don't entirely get the reference. So here we've got some natives. I'm assuming we're continuing kind of linearly, so this is probably post-Civil War? Or maybe it's not.
Oh, at least sometimes, at some point, the native people were trading furs as their main source of income. So they trade furs or whatever for some sort of technology, and in this case, it's the gun.
Yeah.
That's all I kind of know about it historically, but it's one of those things. It's like they're buying literally into their own destruction. So
because it was interesting here because he's very mad before he sees they're even buying guns. No, he's kind of just confused. He's not really mad, but I thought he maybe was mad that they were like even conversing with them or trading with them, which would play into him as like a lot of this chapter. It's not necessarily about portraying him as like somebody who's been right the entire time and like the true victim. It's kind of a lot of confirmation bias as well. It's more nuanced in this sense. So him could be thematically wrong here of like cooperation and trading, as we've seen previously with Thorfinn and the games they were playing with the native people, giving each other gifts. Like that was positive. So necessarily
not based. Gifts bad.
Yeah, gifts are bad, but the cooperation like this could be a good thing, right? But he's more. This is obviously built up to the gun. I didn't peep
that's the main thing.
The sword parallel here, but you did point that out earlier. That's very cute. Not cute, but clever. I really like the facials here. Are so good. Look at this man firing the gun, conflicted at the violence he's doing. Not the natives, the invaders have forced him to do.
He almost looks like he's like almost intoxicated with the power of the gun in a way.
Yeah,
you know, like the magic of the gun, like the magic of the sword.
He's been pulled in by the yes. And then because obviously the big meme is that a lot of them die from sickness, and that's addressed here in this panel. Very scary hives and stuff. It gross me out. I don't like them. Are these hives? Is that what you call hives? Yeah, I think hives is like an American thing. This like you're breaking out in hives, you know, because from disease on like. Is that not an idiom over in the UK?
No, it's not.
I think it is an American thing.
Hives, man. I've never heard a Yank say it.
Fucking Yanks.
But yeah. Well, I know. I think I mean it's just reference to smallpox, which I think supposedly killed 90%.
Yeah.
You know, and we've seen the rat on the ship and stuff like that. Like, I don't know what Yukimura is going to do with that and stuff. Like, so like, there's a lot of plot points to kind of like tie in here. You know,
the bear survived, but will the fucking rat now? Is it? I'm completely kind of remembering something I might have seen in like a YouTube video or something. Isn't it true that industrialization caused a lot of the disease and like
the CGP Grey video? That's the only one I've watched as well.
No, I don't think. I think you've tried. You've recommended this person to me, but I don't think I've ever seen any of the videos.
Oh, okay.
But the kind of like the Norths might not have the diseases is kind of the thing I might be thinking, and it might be specifically from the Brits later when like urbanization happens because of the Industrial Revolution, but that's after. That's like long after the Civil War, even, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's in the 1800s.
So basically, because in North America, the amount of animals they can domesticate are much lower. They don't have cows, they don't have sheep.
Yes.
I think they just have. I don't even think they had horses. Like the only thing you can either tame bison in the north, or you can tame alpacas down south. And so what would happen is that, if you're around animals all the time, there's this thing called not smallpox, like it's like a basically, with the first vaccine, how the first vaccine was found was that milkmaids who were always around cows didn't die of smallpox because they already had this other type of pox, right? And so they showed immunity. And so basically, like, because you're around animals all the time, you're just used to the diseases that are out there.
Yeah.
And if you bring it over into a new environment where they haven't built up their immunity, then of course they're going to be very susceptible to it. So
it's like an old wives' tale that you should like go outside more to like build up your immune system.
Yeah.
Problem bacon. Laptop has not given me a warning yet, but it is looking pretty low, so we might have to speed things up a little bit. But
All right. Well, I don't think the next chapter will be as beefy to talk about.
Yeah. Because fucking hell, this chapter. But the villages burned down here, very scary. Going through like all the bad things humanity has done is another thing here. There's also like a reaction. People love reactions, right? People love reaction videos. I was always mad as a kid that they would cut away when DBZ characters would give exposition, because I wanted to see Vidal's more like visceral reaction to finding out that her father's a fraud and that her crush is the actual one that beats Cell. I don't know if you're a DBZ bro.
No, I'm not.
But goddamn, did I want
react to Vinland Saga chapters?
Yeah. But yes, people love reactions. So it's part of it is also like a person unaware seeing like the history that will become in the future is kind of fun. Fun is not the operative word there. Operative might not be the operative word there either. But it's interesting to watch very viscerally. Then we see a truck in Vinland Saga fucking art design. What the fuck? It's so fucking cool.
A cowboy.
A fucking shit-eating fucking white boy cowboy. Now, this looks like a racist prick. This give me all the bad vibes. This cowboy is no good. I watched a Kraut video about how they kicked out all the Mexicans even though they helped win the war. Cowboy's bad.
Yeah.
But all the pollution here, it reminds me of the I don't know if you were in this one stream where I was obsessed with like this song and music video for like a week. It was a Pearl Jam song. It's called "Do the Evolution" or whatever. It's like a 90s music video. It has that slick, sexy. It has that slick, sexy fucking 90s like Spider-Man animation, Batman the Animated Series animation, and it's like this chapter. It actually is a great comparison of this chapter where it just goes through like all the ills in society and everything bad humans do. The pollution thing here looks very similar to how it's displayed in that. They have like a machine that grabs trees and throws it into its mouth and then chomps out like babies at the back. It's a whole thing about how the world's fucked up and we do terrible things to nature and people.
Very misanthropic in a way.
Yes. It's kind of celebrating that with this crazy rock song, and Death is like this super sexy girl in the video, and she's like going around corrupting things and making everything bad. It kind of is similar to this of like all the bad things we do, and it's like, oh yeah, we do that, and that's fucked up, and it's just kind of the run through of that. And but yeah, the smogs particularly reminded me of that video. But here we've got disease that they're like walking through the desert because they get misplaced. People are collapsing and dying. Cowboys being pricks. Now this scene reminds me of your favorite Bacon, old Full Metal Alchemist a little bit. Where Roy Mustang, I don't know if this was in the anime, I assume it was, though I hear they rush through the Istanbul stuff. Not cool. But Roy Mustang comes to like the final Istanbul soldier who's like bleeding out, and because at this point, this is Scar's flashback, so at this point you're like, this is a fucking genocide. These fucking pricks, no good. And Roy's kind of doing their bidding, and he comes to the last dude, and he kind of wants, they could have had a moment there of like, haha, like, I'm powerless and I'm dying. But instead, like, the Istanbul guy basically says, fuck you, and then like dies bleeding out, and it's really cool. And I feel like he comes to him and he's like leaning against a rock like this. So it reminded me of this. It was like in a desert type area, so it was kind of similar. But this stuff might be my favorite I said we were speeding up, but I fucking lied. I'll turn the brightness down a little bit and buy some more time. But yeah, this stuff here, this imagery might be my favorite, like, most powerful point of imagery in the whole thing, of like seeing his like going through time continually, and like he decomposes and his bones are there, and then they get blown away by the nuke. Fucking incredible. I like it a lot. Did you think of this Full Metal Alchemist thing? Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you remember the scene I'm talking about?
No, that's not in the anime. I'm reading.
There's no way. Wait, you're reading Full Metal Alchemist? Is that what you say?
Yeah, I'm reading through it right now.
Oh, like right now? Like you've been going through it recently, or like you got it up scrolling?
Yeah, recently. I'm getting like just recently.
Yeah.
I'm not on the Full Metal Alchemist.
I thought you tabbed over and you're like, I gotta find this thing he's talking about. But yeah,
no.
Man, that's one of the scenes I remember the most from that. That's when I was talking about that on stream, like, I don't know, a year and a half ago when I was reading Full Metal Alchemist. I do have the urge to go back to it a little bit. I feel like I was a little bit
remember your Patreon video on the first impressions?
Man, what a video. Now uploaded for all to see.
What a video. I just want to notice a big plot hole here. Yukimura just ruined Vinland Saga right here.
What did he do?
There was no way there will be a guy that's, partially decomposed when they're blowing up the bomb, man. That's just not. That's not.
Well, it kind of rushes through, right?
It would be completely gone.
He kind of is. Oh, are we saying like the nuke is what decomposed him? I was thinking like time, and then the nuke blows away the bones. But maybe here it kind of looks like he's decomposing because of the explosion. But yeah. I see what you mean about.
It's a combination of two different time periods. But it really doesn't matter.
Because the explosion sent him through time, just like the cannon earlier. But I like that there's like some hair. Like his head got cut off, but there's still like some hair here. I don't know. This is a little detail I noticed. You know what I'm talking about? It might be behind on stream.
Yeah.
But this little thing here, I thought that was really cute. Again, not cute, but good. When I say cute, I mean good.
I think that's just the back of his collar, is it not? That's kind of like
maybe. I don't know. I'm like putting my face close to the screen to try and see, but that's not going to help. It's not a real thing. But yeah. But yeah, the background here, the little spark, and then like I realized like before I scrolled to the big explosion thing, what was happening. I was like, oh my god, we're getting a fucking nuke in Vinland Saga. What the fuck? And this page is, I love the texture on the grass here. Wait, grass is grown, so we are way in the future. I guess these are like wisps of grass up here. Are these not grass? My fucking thing won't scroll down. It kind of looks like
something. Yeah, there's no grass in the previous one. It's just this is what the girl was seeing. When the sun's burning and there's nothing left. Her vision is of the nuke. So
because this is obviously a testing site on like American soil.
In Nevada, whatever.
Yeah,
they tested it.
Yeah, where there's a whole bunch of nothing, but fuck, does this look good? I love, like, I don't know if texture is the right word, but how do you draw an explosion? Like, to even think of how one draws that is incredible. Like, the power waves, like, the lines, the action lines here. Yeah. This is, like, I don't want to say it. I don't want to be too hyperbolic.
I got spoiled about this on Twitter. This is my only regret.
Somehow I read it 3 months later and I didn't get spoiled.
On this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, there's something about the black here that just, I want to make it like my background photo or something. It's so cool. And by cool, I don't mean cool, I mean good, chat.
Yeah.
It's pretty. I want to look at the nuke more. Like
it's also like you can see like a camera lens because the ground is warped. It's just like to give as much impact and focus on this explosion as possible, and it's just like
bones flying.
It's just like after that whole chapter, you're just like
it's like an explosion of a fucking chapter.
Hey,
there's
an explosion of emotion.
Yes, I remember the old memes. Like the tree branches being pushed by like the wind off the just injected in my veins is what the kids say these days. God damn, does it look good. But if we can continue on, because we're supposed to be continuing on. I even like it here with the blacks and stuff. I don't know why I'm into the blokes clapping and stuff. Supposed to be
Oh,
sad.
I love that's probably my favorite bit of the chapter. Actually, the
Yeah.
guy's like marveling at this technical feat. It's like what? Yeah, I don't know. You won't get this reference, but I think of the main bad guy Nazi in Hellsing Ultimate. That's like an old anime reference, but like they're basically Nazis, and he's like this evil scientist, and he's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've
also
seen.
another thing quickly. Shout outs to the cool font in the top bit there.
Yes. Font is so
That is
cool.
so cool.
Have you read Chainsaw Man?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that does a lot of cool shit with font. There are always interesting ways where you can fuck with like manga, like how like conventions and how things usually are structured. To fuck with fonts like this or speech bubbles, it's always sick.
Well, this is something that is completely done by the translation team as well. So like artistic spin on it, I guess. So.
So what was it?
Hang on,
What did it look like in the raws?
I don't know actually. I haven't had a look, but
Because I wonder if they're replicating something, but or if this is originally their idea. But it's sick either way.
I think they are.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I like how he is also affected by the nuke, even though he's like not in the physical realm, just because that's the power of this fucking human invention. This all powerful.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Finally, he's affected by an explosion.
Yeah, he's not just blown. I think this is where this is where he wakes up too. So he's not blown to like further in time. I wonder what would if he had continued on and he'd done some future stuff like fucking spaceships or something, and people are still fighting. That would have been something. That would have been taking it to the next level. Yeah.
Oh yes. It
would have.
Always got to count on Sergeant to get the. I'm access denied on that one. I can't see them. Oh.
Wait, what's going on? Oh, Sergeant is linking something.
Send it to me in DMs. Send it to me in DMs.
My access is also denied, so maybe it's only okay in America or something. Or is that not what access?
I think he's on the same time zone as me. So.
All right, Sergeant is in chat, but yeah. So yeah, then we got just his head. We must rid the Norse their destruction, and then he wakes up. He's nearly dead. The tent has fallen in too, so it is interesting how. And then ending the chapter with a "we must."
Okay, yeah. So in the rules, it looks like there's a little bit there. And I'll send it to you, I guess.
Oh.
So you can see later. I don't know if I'm gonna show it, but I don't know. I just got.
Can I open our DMs? Do you think is this problematic in any way?
Yeah, go ahead. You have nothing to hide. You've got a clean slate of of DMs, right? I'm the only one, right? So it should be fine.
Yeah, I see how the font is a little different. Man, it must be hard to do fonts like that in like Japanese, since the kanji is so complicated to like cursive. What does that look like in Japanese? But yeah, I'm looking at it. It's cool.
It does look like a different font, but
yeah, it doesn't fill it up
to
what the point you're talking about. But yeah,
shout outs to hang on, let's go to the beginning of the chapter. I praised them in the Discord. But like they go with the credits at the beginning of the chapter. Hold up.
Wait, should I join this Vinland Saga Discord now? Can I do that?
Yeah, you can. I'll send you the shout outs to Chow for lettering. There
we go. My first ever Discord server to join, maybe, but that's a different thing. What do you think about the fact that the tent exploded also? So it's kind of like a match cut of like the explosion happens here, and then it somehow happened in real life. It's kind of interesting of like.
Oh, true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I mean, another thing to look at is that his hair's now white. He has just aged himself completely. You know, he's almost killed himself. But
yeah, I didn't even notice that. But yeah. But ending it with "we must" and the Canute stuff, I could tell even on Twitter I caught some of this discourse that people were very excited for a Canute chapter, and it's kind of not really a Canute chapter next time, though we do see him. No. Though it has some insane implications that Canute and Thorfinn saw each other in the time skip, which is cool. We need to move on because I did just get the first battery thing. Oh no, girls in bikinis at the bottom of the thing. Let me just scroll through this. First of all, recap of the Baltic Sea War at the beginning. Sick. I didn't realize who was monologuing. I didn't even recognize it the first time I saw the beard. Obviously, I was foolish in retrospect, but this is a dude in Thorfinn's crew. He became a pirate.
I remember you said something about it being the quintessential Yukimura Vinland Saga character design.
Yes, the first time you see the man with the beard in the first time we saw him post the time skip. So I was like, this is a Vinland Saga man. Canute just here behead them. When I saw our baby boy again, I was a little excited. So I'll just do a little recap for this, and then we can talk about it all generally. Thorfinn gets to
You
talk.
do your thing.
Yukimura lets not Yukimura, Canute lets him talk because at the end of the farmland stuff. Because they really never met in the Baltic Sea War, right? They never saw each other. Canute's barely in that, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Canute's just watching from afar.
Yeah. So this is the first time they've interacted in like so long. He basically dispels Valhalla here, says like you're being stupid. There's a lot of cool imagery. The image of like the 3 goddesses or whatever is fucking sick. I don't know what it reminds me of, but
funny.
It's so
It
good.
is so
the future
funny.
sucks really sucks. The way they're positioned, I think it reminds me of the orgy girls from Chainsaw Man, but it also reminds me of something else. I think they're both referencing
True.
something like that. Just they're kind of like goofy but scary but ominous but goofy. It's like, yeah. Halloween, brother. Halloween.
In all the best ways, in all the best ways possible, it feels very shonen. It feels like, here's a funny joke.
Yeah.
You're gonna do a funny pose. I feel like I'd see this in One Piece or something like that, where it's like...
The detail doesn't really... I don't know. I actually don't think... It didn't remind me of shonen. I just think because of the background detail. Like, this isn't in no shonen.
Yeah.
But, don't make me say it again, but it gives me Berserk vibes a little bit. I don't know if it's just this girl has black hair and I'm thinking of Mortar. Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. But I think it reminded me of the Chainsaw Man, the group of the girls being like wacky. This one in the back looks like more solemn and serious. The wackier sisters. I don't know. It just really... I really like that image.
Voices.
Yeah.
It's funny. Very funny.
Let me just scroll through the chapter. What else happens? Choose. It's cool that he got a choice, kinda. And then now he calls Thorfinn boss, which is a little thing through there. And then they have this cute little like corny line of like the Norns didn't.
So good.
Yeah, it's really cute. So that's that chapter.
That made me laugh so much.
All right. Anything specific before I get the next battery where we'll have to end immediately? But
Yeah.
Get it out.
I mean, like, I think the main thing is that Thorfinn is saying, I don't care what people say the future is. I'm skeptical towards that. I'm going to continue anyway. And I think that's the main thing to take away from that chapter, just to be like, hey...
Oh, I didn't even think about that at all. Holy shit.
Even if the shaman does say that, like,
prophecy foretold.
Like, prophecy is foretold, and even though we as the audience know it's legit true, Thorfinn
is standing up to our reality, saying "fuck you, I'ma do it."
Yeah,
it's such a Luffy kind of thing.
He's gone. Yeah, and I mean, like, I think some people got a little butthurt over like, oh, here's another time Yukimura is saying, Norse culture's dumb and all this stuff, and I don't think Thorfinn is really saying that. He's just questioning it, and he's just saying, like. I mean, like, if you go back to like him talking with Askeladd, like, this is called Ragnarok, right? And then I think the chapter that I haven't really looked into it, but the chapter that he talks to Askeladd on the hill was also called The Coming of Ragnarok. So I feel like there's probably some like connections there or something. But like, Askeladd was also talking about the end times and how he's.
All right, hold on real quick. The stream didn't just go down, right? It just fucked up on my phone. I think chat tell me.
Yeah. It's up. It's up.
Okay, it's up.
I'm seeing it.
All right, continue. Or did I fuck up your train of thought?
And so like, Askeladd is always a bit, being a bit skeptical, and so I think like Thorfinn's just being compassionate and being like, look, I mean, he's also being a little bit ignorant there. Like, he just says, I don't know if it's gonna work or not. I'm just gonna try it. I've got a goal in mind, and that's kind of what he is doing. And so, if there is a failure, that's it. Like, Thorfinn's trying to reach a goal and doesn't know if the goal is possible. But that's what pioneers do. They keep on going forward, keep moving forward.
I was gonna say something. Oh, it's like Thorfinn's complete lack of pride. I think back to the Sigurd scene where he's like, "Kiss my foot and you can have it." And Thorfinn's like, "Yeah, let's fucking." Did I say Sigurd?
I'll do that.
But yeah, he's like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. It's like, I don't care. Like, I don't care about being right too much. It's not about, like, for the Norths, it's kind of like a pride thing. Like, yeah, Valhalla's real because I say it's real. And if I say it was real, I was wrong. And I can't be wrong because then I'll look weak. But Thorfinn's just like, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. You kind of seem a little stupid, though. So it's like, I think it's kind of a pride thing.
His goals are completely different.
Yeah. So is there any further implication of the fact that, like, Thorfinn and... Like, it could just be a throwaway thing for this chapter to get Canute in here to be like, he just asked him this one time to, like, help him get past these pirates? Or is there further implication?
So,
like, Canute knows about Vinland? Yeah, go on, go on.
Yeah, well, Canute definitely knows about Vinland now. I thought he'd have to learn about it through Thorkel. That was my
Yeah,
thought. So if for whatever reason, maybe if Yukimura wanted Canute to turn up in Vinland,
yeah,
because this is a weird thing. What is he doing with Canute? I'm
yeah.
not
Like,
sure. Because
how does
Canute's
he?
such a big thematic component, but
Yeah.
here it's like a cameo. But so I think the main thing here is that the only thing I can think of is that supposedly in the time skip they got put in prison because of some miscommunication. It was said that they got put in prison, and so maybe
Oh.
Canute came down to kind of help Thorfinn out to be like, "Hey, I like this dude, get him out of prison." But I
Okay.
don't know. I feel like it's just a bit of fan service, and like it makes logical sense in the plot.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, you guys want a bit of Canute? Let's show a bit of Canute, you know.
It's
So
it's a little bit more than that, I'd say. Like it kind of it. I don't know if it does anything thematically new, so that might lead into the fan service thing. But like, it's just kind of like Canute respecting Thorfinn, reiterating on their relationship, like a reference to be like, yeah, remember these characters do have a history.
mhm.
Because it's not really like Thorfinn to care that much that he knows like the king or anything. But the fact that like
Yeah, Thorfinn doesn't glow.
yeah, the fact that Canute, who is like, doesn't like. When I think of Canute's characterization, I think a lot of the farmland stuff at the beginning, where he's just like, we're taking this farm and like it has to be done
Yeah.
for the greater good and stuff like that. And obviously he changes at the end because of Thorfinn. So Canute, who doesn't really care about anything, is very alone in the world. I always thought it was interesting that he doesn't have like a queen or anything, so he doesn't even have like a relationship where he doesn't pay attention to her or doesn't see her or anything. Which could have been a thing to keep in line with his character, or you could do something fun, which I always want them to do something fun with romance, but it never happens. Where like maybe his girlfriend is the only one he talks to and he's cute and stuff like that. That could be something in the future for Canute. It's not going to happen. I don't know why I'm talking about it.
Well, okay, so the only
Does the Canute
romance
have
I
a
think
king?
that's
Do you
happened
know?
because
A queen? Continue.
yeah, but, well, if you're looking for romance, I think there's hints that there will be some native
Yes,
Norse
with bug
romance
eyes.
at some
I
point.
tweeted about this back in the last chapter thing. I'm down for the bug eyes and
I
the.
think it could be bug eyes.
Oh,
I'm
were you
also
not
down
leading?
for Aina to get some action.
Okay. Hey, he's simping for
but,
Arnie until he dies.
till he dies, a true simp.
Yes.
One we all aspire to be.
Yes,
Because
he's
the
powerful,
thing is,
man.
so this is one thing because I've reread the book 12, whatever. They specifically mentioned that Thorfinn's goal is eventually marry the tribes together or something like
okay.
that, so they can be a true people like together. You know, like he mentioned that as like as a goal. So I'm like, oh wait, okay.
Sorry,
eyes.
Gudrid.
Let's go.
Goodbye. I gotta marry this
Sorry.
girl now.
Gonna have a concubine.
Yeah.
Classic.
2 wives. We're doing polyamory out here. But very quickly, because we have to end soon. This Thorfinn page here, it's very cute, Thorfinn. There was, I forgot to mention, in the Heil chapter, there is a very cute, it is at the top of the page, it is in a similar box. Where it's like Hild being like kind of cute and not fierce. Oh, Hild being a teacher and stuff like that in that chapter was really cute too. She's like, I forget these things because I've just become a teacher. And like Kali obviously there asks what happened. It's all really Hild is growing. I thought all that stuff's cute.
I think this page caused a few people to complain because, like, oh my word, baby Vinland Saga now. Look how cute he is. This is my true warrior.
Yeah.
My Thorfinn.
Aaron can't be a simp at the end.
Yeah. One thing that Sergeant has said, which at the tagline at the bottom, and these are notoriously inaccurate, kind of like with this chapter with Canute. It says Thorfinn becomes a true warrior.
Yes, I did read this.
Last. What do you think of that?
Hasn't he kind of already did that? What's he going to do next chapter that's going to solidify it?
He's going to have a baby. That's it.
Mate.
I reckon. Because
like another one?
One of the things I've seen floated around is because
bacon, we got to get we should fucking do this next stream. Right. This is very fun. We got to end it for the YouTube people and everything like that. I didn't get to read my tweets. I'm fucking heartbroken. Bacon, somehow keep that thought. We'll converge another time. The laptop is literally got to go flat, so I got to end it now. Right. I guess I'll hang up on you because I got to turn the laptop off anyway, so we couldn't keep this going. All right, Bacon. Love you very much.
See you later,
this was fucking sick. Best stream ever, maybe. I'll talk to you in like 3 minutes after I end all this stuff. All right. We got to go. Goodbye, Bacon. All right, Chad, that was fucking sick. Good stream, right?